Hey,
Hey, what's up?
I'm tired of building custom WordPress themes from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's what I do, but there's got to be an easier way. I'm having to write all the CSS by hand
I I mean, there is an easier way. You know that,
like
right? Like,
with Sass.
I mean, you can use Sass with it, but I was thinking more just Bootstrap. Like, what's wrong with that?
I knew you were going to say Bootstrap.
What's wrong with that?
I don't want to admit that I like Bootstrap. I really like
Yeah,
it. I've done some projects with it. It really speeds things up.
yeah. I mean,
Actually, wait a minute. Hold on, let me share my screen.
okay.
I was just hearing about,
While you do that, I'm gonna pour some tea.
okay, so there's this theme called UnderStrap that's actually a combination of Underscores and Bootstrap. Do you know Underscores? It's by Automattic with two T's. It's the folks behind WordPress. And
Okay.
it's this stripped down starter theme, and it gives you a bunch of PHP templates and then sort of a normalized CSS.
Hmm.
And then also, so with Understrap, it adds Bootstrap. So you can do all the cool grid system and cards and carousel and all of the components and everything. So,
And look, it's got Sass too.
it's got SAS, NPM. Oh, it's got Gulp.
And then if you know Bootstrap, you can, you know, customize them as much as you want.
Yeah. Um, so I need a guinea pig project. I guess I always do my own. In fact, my own website's built in Squarespace.
Wait. So you're okay using Squarespace for your personal website, but not using Bootstrap?
Yeah. Have you used Squarespace? It's actually really fun.
I have for my
it's
mom's
so
website.
it's so easy to edit, and I didn't really, I mean, I just kind of went along with this theme, but there were a lot of compromises that I made. So I think if I used something like Bootstrap and then wrote some custom CSS or SAS on top of it, I
Yeah,
think that would be the way to go.
dude, do it. Let me know. I want to
Give
see
me a
it.
good challenge.
Good challenge.
Yeah. How long?
Let's do two
Like
days.
2 days?
Yeah,
I
it's
wonder
the
if I can.
weekend. Do it over the weekend.
I wonder if I can do it quicker. I'm going to say 1 day, but it's probably going to be more like 2 days.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can reproduce what I've got on Squarespace and then write some custom CSS on top of that to get it to look the way I originally wanted it to look.
Yeah, do it. I'm gonna set my timer.
Okay,
Boop. Done.
ready, go. Beep, boop,
Let's
boop,
go.
boop, boop. All
Your
right.
challenge has been accepted.
Well, I got to go.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Before I start talking about the Understrap theme, I'd actually like to talk about what a theme is. So, according to the documentation, the most minimum theme would be an index.php file and then a style.css. And then you could also have a screenshot.png, which would make it a little easier to find it in the WordPress admin. But in the index, we have very few things. We include the style sheet here with this get style sheet URI. And then I've created an H1 with another function here for the home URL. And then I've included the tagline, which is this get blog info description, and then a very basic WordPress nav menu. And then here's the loop, starts here and it ends here. And then we've got the permalink to the title, and then finally the underscore content, which pulls in all the content. And now this is our minimum theme. This is really all that we need. So we have the site title, and then here's our tagline, and this is our navigation. And this all of this content is just some placeholder Greeking. But if I click blog, then you'll see that it actually does pull in the 3 sample posts that I created. I can go into post 2, and I can click back on the site title to go back to the home page. So that's really the minimum that you would need to create a theme. I didn't cover the style sheet, but you see that I'm just setting the background color of the page to black or to white, and then the text color to black. And then I've made link colors be blue and purple and red, depending on what state they're in. So really that's the bare minimum of a theme. One step higher than that would be the Underscores theme. So this is a starter theme. So all you have to do here is name your theme, and you can choose advanced options and then provide a slug, an author URI, and a description. You can choose whether to include WooCommerce support and then whether SAS is enabled. Then we can download a zip file, and then this is what that looks like once we've unzipped all the files. So we get a lot more than just the index.php file and the style.css. We do have that. Here's the index here, and here's a style sheet. This is more of a normalized style sheet. It's got quite a bit more than what I wrote before. It's kind of a really stripped down starter theme. There's hardly any CSS. It's not completely raw. There's a normalized CSS, and that's a bit more than a reset. So if we take that one step further, we would get UnderStrap. And as I said in the intro, UnderStrap is a combination of the Underscores starter theme, which is really stripped down, and then Bootstrap on top of it. So if we go to their GitHub repo and scroll down to the installation section, we'll see that there are 3 ways to install it. We can do the classic install, where we can download a zip file and then unzip it, rename it to understrap.zip, and then go to the WordPress admin and you know the rest, install it like we normally would. Or we could do an npm install with npm install understrap at a command prompt. Or we can go to the WordPress admin and just install it the way that we normally would from the WordPress.org website, the theme repository. So I've already got it downloaded, and right now I have the Underscores theme installed or activated. So I've downloaded the UnderStrap theme. Now I'm going to activate it. And I'll go to the front end and refresh my browser. And this may look familiar if you've used Bootstrap in the past. So it's much more than just a normalized CSS. This actually gives us some useful layout and kind of a classically Bootstrap look. So this is our home page, and it's reverted to use this sidebar. I'll go in and change that, but this is all Greeked out content and an about page. But if I go to this blog, then you'll see here are my blog posts that I've got set up. And then I've got a contact form on the contact page with contact form 7, and then just these 3 simple footers in a widget. So I'll go to the back end, and this is what UnderStrap looks like. We've got a bunch of folders here and some PHP templates. So all the usual suspects. We've got functions.php and the index.php. Here's a style. But we have so much more than that. We have an archive, author, comments. Here's a footer and a header to go along with it. Here's our gulp file. And a page for static pages. There's our screenshot, which makes it easier to identify in the WordPress admin. Here's a search form, sidebar, and single, which is the blog posts. So this is what the functions.php file looks like, and it includes all of these additional PHP files. It includes support for WooCommerce, but we can comment that out if we don't want to use it. And then the theme file, this is the precompiled one that comes with it. And again, we have WooCommerce. If we're not using that, we can come down and comment that out. And then if we're not using contact form 7, we can comment that out. But also notice it has support for Font Awesome. And then there's this theme variables file. So if I go to here, this is where we could set up our variables, and they've already got one called primary, which sets up that kind of bluish purple in the header. But in this SAS theme folder, we've got this underscore theme.scss file. This is where we would put all of our custom CSS. So now let's go back to our front end. What I'd like to do is I'll switch back to the About page. First thing, let me turn off this sidebar because we really don't need that except for blog pages. If I go to About, instead of this default template, I'll switch it to full width page and then come back over, reload. Okay, I'd like to replace all of this Greeking, this placeholder content, with some actual content from the Bootstrap documentation. So I'll go to getbootstrap.com and then I'll go to the documentation tab. And I'll come down to components. And then these are a bunch of the things that you can include in Bootstrap. It's a bunch of HTML and there's CSS on the back end that helps give you a head start. There's also some content. There's a content area and then a layout area and utilities. But what I'd like to do is, I think I'll go back to components. One of the things that I know already off the top of my head is this one called lead. Oh, I see it's in the typography section under content. So if I add this class equal lead to a paragraph, and I'll just copy this example, and actually I'll come back over here, I'll get rid of this, and then I'll paste this in and then update. Let me show you what that looks like. So now we get this lead text, lead paragraph. It's slightly larger. And in fact, I have some more, I have a longer section of HTML here that'll show it off a little bit better. I'll save that and refresh. There we go. So one of the other things I happen to know off the top of my head is text, text center. And that'll center align our text. So we can do a modal. Whoops, keep coming back to that screen. We can go to do a modal, and I'll just search for modal. There we go. So that's under components modal. And the first thing I need to do is I'd like to create a button. This is actually what the modal looks like. There's the button. So I'm going to grab this button and I'll add that after this paragraph. And I'll come back and grab this sample modal, copy that and paste it. And you'll notice that this data target is set to hash example modal, and that's the ID on this div here. So I'll click update and then refresh my page. Now I have this button. Something looks a little strange about this button. I'll go back and fix that. But if I click it, we should get this modal. Now there's no content in there. We'd want to add in some content. So let's take a look at this button. We have button type equal button, class equal BTN, BTN primary. That's our primary color. That's why it's kind of that bluish purple. Data toggle equal modal, data target equal hash example modal. Not sure exactly why. Let me take out these extra spaces. I don't think that should do it. Let me refresh. There we go. That reminds me that I can add these two remove filters. Let's see if I go back to the functions.php file and I'll go down to the bottom and I'll add these two filters. One is for the underscore content and it's called WP Auto P. In other words, remove the filter that adds an automatic P tag or paragraph tag from the content and from the excerpt. So if I save that, and then that should allow us to have carriage returns without causing an extra break. So then we can actually add some additional Greeking in here. So I've got, let's see, I'll add in this paragraph here where they had these dots. And here's the modal title. Yep, everything else looks good. I'll click Update, refresh, and then now I can click that button again. Now we have that content. So the next thing we could do is we could add cards. So if I go up a little bit, here's card. And the kind of cards that I want to do, I'm going to scroll down toward the bottom. There's lots and lots of different kinds of cards, but I'd like that classic one where it has an image at the top like this, but I don't want to do a card deck. I want to do this one here, so grid cards. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. Whoops, come back over to here, and actually I'm going to place it above that modal. And I'll need to replace these sources. I'll need to fill in the source attribute with an actual image. But I'll click Update and then refresh. That'll give you an idea of what those look like. So we'll add an image in there. And while I'm in here, I'm just going to add a horizontal rule. That'll give us a little space. So I'm going to give myself a carriage return. I'm going to do Add Media, and I'll choose an image here. And then really the only thing I need, I can get rid of all of this and then add in this class. Of card image top. Okay. And then I happen to know that I have several of these, so that's image 1. I'll make this image 2 and image 3. Can actually get rid of this 4th one. Okay, I'll click Update, come back to my browser. There we go. So we've got each one of these as a card. So we've got this image on top, and then this heading, and then a sentence or a paragraph. And if I just duplicate all 3 of those, so let's see, I need from here down to here, paste. I'm going to leave those same image numbers in there. It should wrap around. There we go. And so now we have 2 rows of 3. You could also add footers to these with a link, or you could add a button, or you could do all kinds of things. But it doesn't have to stop there. You can actually write all kinds of custom CSS on top of what you see here with all of the HTML markup that you get and all the classes that call the Bootstrap CSS. You can actually write your own custom CSS, and that would happen here in this underscore theme.scss file. So I took some time to write some CSS, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in. And over here in my terminal window, I'll start gulp watch, and that'll watch my CSS and JavaScript files. And I'll come back over and then save this, and that'll take care of the pre-processing the SAS code. And then I'll go back over to my About page and then hit refresh. And you can see this is all the same HTML, but now I've applied custom CSS to take this Bootstrap theme and make it look very custom. So underneath the hood, there's still all of that Bootstrap code. If I go back and just get rid of all of that and then save it and then hit refresh again, you'll see it just goes right back to the original Bootstrap look. With some custom CSS, you can really make this look exactly the way you want to. And that brings us back to my own website, which goes back to the intro with Kevin. I had taken my Squarespace website and, as a challenge, converted it to WordPress using the UnderStrap theme, and this is what it looks like. So all of this is the Bootstrap HTML, Bootstrap markup, and then I've done all I could with the CSS that comes with that, but I've also used a lot of custom CSS. And what this allowed me to do was it jump-started my project and made it a whole lot quicker to get up to the point where I could do all the custom CSS. And I have to say that it only took me a fraction of the CSS code that I normally would use on a custom WordPress theme. So it really did save me a lot of time while I was creating this website. I think you should give it a try as well. If you've been wanting to create a Bootstrap website with WordPress, this would be a really good alternative because UnderStrap combines the scaffolding of Underscores, but also the Bootstrap responsive toolkit on top, and it'll really save you a lot of time. And you can create your own custom website, and it won't have that exact Bootstrap look that a lot of people kind of shy away from. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions on the Underscores or UnderStrap themes or WordPress development in general, you can reach out to me on my website at mpgilbert.com. I've also included some links to my social media accounts in the description. See you next time.